Welcome, Teachers Tribe. Our today's session by a highly experienced educator, Mrs. Sana Noor. Mrs. Sana Noor has worked in technology and classrooms she has been part of Noida for over 12 years. Isn't that incredible? My own association with Sana is almost 7 years now. She's currently working as primary ICT coordinator at Pathways. She is not only a passionate educator, but also an accomplished writer. She has recently written a book I think something went wrong. I'll again introduce Sana. Welcome once again, Teachers Tribe. Today's session in technology as a tool for effective learning in IB PYP Classroom will be led by a highly experienced educator, Mrs. Sana Noor. Mrs. Sana Noor has a wealth of knowledge on how technology can enhance learning in the classroom. Ms. Sana has 2 decades of experience in teaching, out of which she's been part of Pathways School Noida for over 12 years. She is currently working as primary ICT coordinator at Pathways. Sana is not only a passionate educator but also accomplished writer. She has recently written a book called A Mosaic of Untamed Emotions, in which you can see her creativity and love for expression. Let's all join together to learn and discover innovative ways to integrate technology in our classroom. Welcome, Sana.
Thank you, Anila. Hello. There seems to be some problem in the network. I'm sorry, but
Yes,
somebody
it's okay.
commenting from also, yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm so happy to be here. And thank you for giving me this opportunity, Teachers Tribe and Anila and Asnaha. So, yeah, like Anila has been so generous with my introduction. So, I am quite passionate about integrating technology, and that's why I'm here to share my experiences and whatever I've been trying to do with my students in all these years. So, yeah, so let's get started. So, in my session today, I will take you through a few steps which we take and which we try to go through that journey for effective technology integration. Because I personally feel that there are so many awe's and wonders attached to technology that sometimes when we do a lot of things using technology and the students do so many things, some of them they just look wow, oh wow, that looks so lovely. But I keep emphasizing back to the point that it's very important to know that how is it helping the learner, or what, how is it taking their learning forward. So that is why the word effective is used here, that how can it add on to the learning and not just be something that we can just wow about. Yeah, of course we can wow about it as well, but of course the learning takes the can never take the back seat. That is what I believe in, and that is what we do at my school. So, yeah, technology as a tool, like the IB says, that it is not a subject, so we cannot teach it in isolation. I'm sure many of you would know that. And it's not a subject that we teach in standalone or something that we do in isolation. It has to be integrated with whatever is happening in the classroom at every age level. So, pre pandemic, a lot of educators did not believe so much in the power of technology, but I'm happy that so many of us are on board and now believe that yes, it enhances learning, it adds on to the learning of the students as well as the teachers. So, yeah, starting with, I want to begin by showing a video which was created by a group of grade year 5 students for their PYP exhibition. It's a short video, so you just watch it and then I'll talk a little bit about it.
Water. Water is not a joke. It's a fact. This is the coral reef. It has lost its color and the fish have lost their home all because of us. Most importantly, the water is brown and it will become blacker and blacker each day until all of us act up. And not some of us, but all of us. Do you know how much water each one of us would get if we fairly divided it? Well, then each one of us 7.9 billion people will only get one teaspoonful of water. I only have to walk down my corridor to get one bottle of water. The people have to walk through cities only to get one or two parts of water. In school, I used to waste almost half of my bottle. I was never grateful for the drinking water I had, and some children can't even access it. They they die because of waterborne diseases. When I'm showering, I stay under the shower for pleasure, never thinking about how much water I waste. My cousin threw a lot of sand at me. My mom tried to use the seawater to wash it off, but it only brought even more sand. Mineral water was used on my face, but it barely helped. And then I realized that was one of the ways clean water was important. Drinkable water is only found in a small amount. Before we enrolled and polluted the water, we had 6 trillion liters. Now we have incredibly limited resources. And some of us do not even have access to clean water. Every month, my parents and I go to a holy river called Ganga. But when we went this time, this was the state of the holy river Ganga. And we couldn't take a holy. Every day, millions of kgs of plastic waste is thrown into the ocean, and when the marine life consumes it, it enters our food chain and indirectly affects us. We must build a better future for the generations. It depends on our action and our will, doing simple things like by practicing rainwater harvesting, we can conserve water, purify it, and use it for human consumption. Take as much water as you need. Use the wastewater from the RO for purposes like cleaning your house. Choose a bucket bath instead of the shower. Cycle run water pumps. A saver of time and fuel, this technology utilizes the energy generated by pedaling a bicycle to lift water from small water bodies. Doing all of this will make a world of sustainability and a greener planet. Water. Water is not a joke.
All right, so I started with this video because I felt that this was a superb example of how technology can be integrated to learning and can also help in developing multiple skills. The video that you just saw was conceptualized scripted, shot, and edited by these students who were working on water conservation during their PYP exhibition. So it had multiple steps of what they wanted to do, how they wanted to show, how they wanted to speak, what will be the background, and everything was done by these students. So this I felt was a good example of something which was purposefully using technology. So, yeah, purposeful and seamless integration of technology, I believe, starts at the core. And what could be the core in this case? The core of learning will always remain the learner. If we focus on the learner, why are we integrating it? Many a times, like I began, that when we find a very exciting tool, something which looks a lot of fun, something which we know that the students will enjoy a lot, and we instantly start thinking of how can we use that in the class. That's a great approach, but it's always a better idea to look at why we want to use that tool. Let's first focus on the core, which is the learner. That what is the student learning at that point of time? How can we use a specific uh, tech tool to take that learning forward? That is what is the core of seamless integration. Moving on, once our learning objective is in place, that this is what the learner should be learning at this point of time during the course of a unit or anything they're doing in the class, then we should move on to the engagement or the task. How do you want to engage the learner to learn a particular concept or develop a particular skill, and or to gain some knowledge or content? So then moving on, we move to the engagement. What will the learner be doing? What do we want the learner to be doing? Do you want them to write a story? Do you want them to make a movie or create something? What exactly would you want them to do and to take that particular learning forward? Moving on comes the last bit, which is actually which tool will you be using to integrate that learning. So, as you can see in these concentric circles, the tool is what comes in the end. So, we always, if it is a meaningful or a purposeful integration, it should start from the beginning, begin from the core, which is the learner. Why are we doing it? How are we going to do it? What will the learner be doing? And then moving on to the tool, which we can identify as per our resources, the resources that we have in the school, or something that we've explored, something that we wish to use with a particular age group. And sometimes the tool may not be new. Over these years, I realized that it's not important to keep doing multiple tools at different points of time with students. It's all right to repeat, to make them use the same tool in a different way. Like, for example, if they used a tool to create a presentation, maybe this time you can make them use that tool to create a brochure or a video or any other thing which they can create using that particular tool. That also helps in developing uh, digital literacy in the learners, that they know that these are the tools that we have and this is what we can do with this tool. It's so that's how we plan our engagements following this cycle. Moving on, why is it important to integrate technology with learning? So people who are here, I would love to hear from you. Why do you think it's important to integrate technology? Why do you think that it's important at this point of time, or oh, how does it help? Is it important, or we want to do it or not want to do it, or anything from if you want to add in the chat? Else, I will move on.
Come on, participants. If you, we are not looking for perfect answer. If not, then I'll answer whatever I understand, Sana.
Miss Anila, I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah,
okay.
Miss Surekha has said that we are moving to a technological world. So keeping up with the times, that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, very close to
Yes.
what Rekha has shared. I think our today's generation is already aware of technology. They are always motivated and look forward to use technology. So that focus bit when we are looking for, instead of just giving them physical resources, I think it's very easy to glue them if we are using technology. That's what I feel.
And this is what I feel. Again, like Miss Anila said, it may not be right or wrong. This is what I feel. These are the three key points I feel that it's important to engage technology with learning. One, it's highly engaging. It's highly engaging. I have had students with who need additional learning support, who have uh, issues in other classrooms, but thankfully, because of the one-to-one devices and the tasks and the tools that are chosen in such a way that it ends up being engaging for every type of learner, whether it's somebody who learns visually or through auditory learning learners, or anybody who is linguistically very strong. Every type of learner finds something or the other to engage themselves with technology. So that is one of the key points I feel it's important to use technology at different points of a learner's learning journey. The second is multimodality. We will talk a little bit about it later. Also, multimodality is a term which I picked up from one of the IB documents, and which talks about that how it uh, has multiple ways of expression. So, technology gives the platform to learners to express in a variety of ways, in a wide spectrum. Like they can speak, they can write, they can listen, they can create something, they can create something in a 3D space, they can use coding. So, there are multiple ways to express. That's how technology helps any kind of learner to express themselves. And it fosters learner agency, which because there every particular tool that we introduce to our learners, they have numerous features which learners can explore at their own pace, at their own understanding level. Mm, like, for example, if I take an example of a tool, a simple tool like PowerPoint, a learner who is not very well versed can maybe create one slide with a title and a picture and a little bit of text. But somebody who is extremely well versed, a student who is extremely well versed with PowerPoint, can even create a movie or an animation create using PowerPoint. So that's how I feel within the classroom it fosters learner agency in smaller pockets where every student is open to choose the different features of one particular tool and create different artifacts based on their level of understanding. So these are the three key areas which I feel the reasons why it's important to integrate technology with learning. This again I wanted to talk about because I felt this is an extremely important model about technology learning, which I again picked up from an IB resource called Technology in the PYP, which talks about three aspects of technology learning. One is learning technology, learning about technology, and learning through technology. So, of course, learning technology comes later. Like if we go back to the concentric circles which I shared in the beginning, learning technology is about the tool. What tool are we teaching? What tool are we introducing to our learners? That bit will be covered in learning technology. Learning through technology is what we are talking at length today about, integrating the learning with the technology. That happens through learning through technology. Like if a child is researching about something, or a student is creating a poster about raising awareness about a certain issue which is close to their heart. So all of that will come under learning through technology. Learning about technology, we I feel in the PYP we don't do a lot, because we, like I began in the session, other session, saying that we generally don't teach anything in isolation, as the ICT is not a subject. So we have to integrate with whatever is happening in the classroom. So learning about technology does come in pockets, but I feel we mostly cover things learning through technology and learning technology while we are doing the learning through technology bit. So this model I felt was really important to share here. I'm sure many of you who are active on my IB and go over the resources there must have gone through this. If not, then this article is highly recommended. Technology in the PYP. It's very engaging, and there will be lots of insights after going through this. If you haven't yet read it, so please do read that in your whenever you feel like. From the previous model, this learn technology learning from the IB, we have created our set of approaches to integrate. So in all, the in our the scope and sequence that we have devised at our school, we have four different approaches to integrate. How can we integrate technology to learning? So the first one is basic tech skills, which include a lot of different things at different age levels. For example, if I take an example of a pre-K learner, a nursery child, a 3.5 to 4 year old student, for them, basic tech skills would be maybe just to be able to handle an iPad, close the app, open the app, put the iPad away at the end of the class, be able to drag and drop or draw using their fingers. So that will be the basic tech skills for a learner who is 3 to 4 years old. Moving on, if it's a 9 year old or a 10 year old, the basic tech skills would include to be able to turn on a device, to be able to log in to different online tools, to be able to save and open and create documents on their devices. So these things come under basic tech skills. Here, we also include games, because we truly believe that games are really the cheat code to learning. There are many games out there. If you will restart researching, and you'll find so many which align so well to any kind of concept happening in the class. I want to share something uh, called icivics.org. It's a great website to introduce government, the concept of government, to maybe an 8 or a 9 year old. So it has real life games, real world games, which you can make the students play. And at the end of the lesson, you will realize that they have picked up such a lot of vocabulary, which we may not be able to develop when we are doing it a lecture or a session in the class. So games, I personally believe, are a great tool to enhance or develop vocabulary, to develop to start with a concept which the students don't know about. Um, the second one is using technology to create, where there are again multiple tools which I'm sure you all are great educators, you would know about. There are multiple tools out there which you can use to create something. It can be a movie, it can be a, a digital story, or a poster, or a 3D model, or a game, or an app. So there are multiple ways of using technology to create. Then of course, a great chunk of learning through technology is research and digital citizenship, which we emphasize on right from, let's say, year one, where we introduce research, the aspect of research to students, and we start emphasizing on the fact that it's important to add citations, it's important to credit the source of the where they are getting that information from. And I feel research is something which needs to be developed right across from as young as 6 year olds, because if that is not developed right from the beginning, then by year 5 the students are um, they don't really know which keywords to enter, how to search online, where to go, which websites are authentic, where can they find credible information. So all of these aspects are covered under this strand, research and digital citizenship. Of course, also the aspect of staying safe online and how to behave or when you are in an online setup and a virtual setup. Thankfully, this has developed a lot after 2 years of virtual school, and the students have picked up a lot from there. But I think now, since we are all back to school physically, it's a good time to reiterate all of these with our students. And the last one, of course, is digital design, where the students have to be taken through a cycle, the design cycle of how they identify a problem, they pick up, they ideate, and they move on and create a prototype. So these are the strands that we go by, and I feel that it aligns with the technology learning model of the PYP, of the IB PYP, and it covers most of the aspects and can develop multiple skills while we cover these 4 strands. Here, I'll be sharing a little example from our unit of inquiry, that how we integrated with. So you don't really have to integrate with all the strands, I feel. You can do it with one or two, three. Sometimes, in an ideal situation, all 4 strands can be integrated, but it's not. I don't think it's compulsory, and we shouldn't force it. Like going back to the previous, the first, when I said that it should start from the core. So we should look at the learner. What is the need of that at that point of time? What is the learner going to learn? And what is the objective, what is the purpose of what they're doing. So in this example, I'm just sharing how can you integrate these strands with one particular unit. So this unit is students of PYP2 are inquiring into survival and adaptation, where they're learning about habitats, connection between habitats and living things, and the role of adaptation in survival. So if we will pick the basic tech skills, you can look for games on different habitats, and it's a good opportunity to learn about maps. Maps, again, students respond very well when it is an interactive map online rather than on paper. So it's always a great idea to start mapping online through games, and then you can move on to paper, where students learn to map different places, pin different places, and so forth. So these are a few examples for developing basic tech skills. For research and digital citizenship, they can uh, use an age appropriate website, which again at grade 2 level, I feel that the websites and the links should be provided by the educators, because they are too young to research openly by adding keywords which they want to. So we should always, at younger age groups, at grade level 1, 2, even sometimes grade 3, it's always a great idea to give them different links, and they can research from there rather than letting them be open and research online on Google, because we're not sure if they will find age appropriate content, if they will understand what is there in that website. So, using age appropriate online resources to find out about an animal, and then, of course, it was a great opportunity to emphasize on crediting the source of information, the adding citations. Um, it That's where we start from. We start young so that by year 5 they are able to do it organically, and they don't need to be reminded that citations are important, credits are important. And using technology to create, they use the information gathered to create an informational poster on an animal. Here is a little example of that which I would like to show. So yes, coming back to multimodality, which I wanted to talk at length about, like I said that there are multiple ways through which we can use technology to express. There are multiple ways of expression. Visual, of course, through videos, through tools like Edpuzzle, where you show a video and pauses at different intervals and make sure that the learner is engaged in that video and paying attention or focusing on what is the information being shared. Of course, text is there, and linguistic. You can use multiple languages, like even if there is a foreign language or another language that the students are learning in your schools, like Hindi or French, then there are multiple tools to use uh, to enhance the development of that particular language. Um, Oral, of course, through listening activities, and spatial and gestural through things like 3D modeling, where students are thinking in a 3D space and trying to design something here, and they look at the three different axes X, Y, and Z, where they are able to visualize something which is three dimensional. Also, coding is a great form of expression where they can express themselves through creating games or different apps. Then, towards the end, I would like to share how can we foster learner agency through technology aided learning. It's I feel it happens organically in when the students are using technology, because if we give them open ended tasks, for example, we give them the use, like the example which I shared from grade 2, where students were asked to use one particular tool and add the information that they have gathered for that particular animal, and then they were on their own. If you want to add images, you add images. If you want to add shapes from the tool, you add those. If you want to animate, you can animate. Some of them didn't want to animate, so it's all right. So if the tasks I feel are a little open ended and they're broader, then it gives a great space for learner agency, for students to uh, choose on their own and have their own voice. Then the concept of tech leaders is something which empowers our students a lot. For example, if we uh, at every age level, if we identify certain tech leaders and we create a team, like we have tech teams starting from year 1 till year 5. These tech teams, they work separately apart from the class time, and they work on spreading awareness or creating certain flyers, posters for some particular event which is coming up. And they do all sorts of things which we feel really empowers them to be able to use their expertise at a platform, and they feel great about it. So, and under tech leaders, we also have students who come up to us and they say that I want to start a coding club, or I want to teach this particular concept to my friends or my peers in the class, or I want to hold a master class on teaching a particular tool to my friends. So these are also some types of tech leaders, which again we've seen them grow from pillar to, I mean, great growth in those students whom we've given this opportunity, a platform to showcase themselves or exercise their expertise. Then regular challenges, I feel they foster learner agency like nothing else. So if we have challenges which are thrown at students at regular intervals, then they are uh, always on their toes to do things on their own, to learn on their own, to explore on their own. So we run something called as the tool of the month, uh, where every month we throw a new tool to our students with a task. And believe you, believe you me, these students, the tasks that they do, the work that they come up with, it continues to amaze us, to surprise us, and to inspire us that how our students are able to create something or do something with a tool which, and at their own pace, on their own they explore a tool which they've never done before, they've never been exposed to before, and they create something amazing using those tools. I want to share one example. Last year we had asked the students, it was the Black History Month. So we had given them a tool through which they could create a digital story. And we'd asked them to create a story on discrimination, that how can they show discrimination happening through a story. And we had an year 4 girl who created a beautiful story about homophobia and how it is prevalent and people discriminate people with different sexual orientations, and the kind of depth, the understanding, the empathy that was showcased through that, it literally gave us goosebumps. It was one of our success stories. So I feel regular challenges foster agency like nothing else does. And the children, and if there are rewards involved with it, then the students are continuously stimulated and they're on their toes to do and to prove themselves and to try to explore. So that is how I feel technology fosters learner agency. So yeah, from my side, that's it. And now I'm open to any questions if you have, and we welcome back Anila.
Thank you so much, Sana. It was so engaging and something which is really stuck with me where when you said that it's not necessary to use tools, new tools all the time. It's sometimes it's good actually to use same tool because kids also get exposed to new features which are coming in. I truly believe in this and I've starred few, not few, actually you have many questions to answer. And here, I'll show it here. So, is it same as learning through language, learning about language? So, the first slide that you shared, I think it's regarding that.
Yeah, I think so, Rekha. It is quite similar because IB says that language is also a tool, and just like, and it also says every teacher is a language teacher. Every IB teacher is a language teacher. Similarly, I feel that every teacher is an ICT teacher because we have to stay updated with whatever is happening. So yes, this is quite similar to that.
Here is another one.
This website was icivics.org. Should I write it on the chat?
Yeah, that will be helpful if you can do that.
icivics.org.
I hope, Miss Meera, we have answered your question. And next one over here. Do we
Thank
have to
you.
follow child safeguard for students when they use technology for sharing their knowledge?
Of course, I think this is very important to emphasize periodically with students, especially the older students who are quite active on social networking, otherwise outside the school, because we don't have control on that. So, and I feel that we can't close doors for them. We can't ask them not to do this, not to do, because they will do it. They are inquisitive. So I think it's very important to have these rules reiterated continuously and regularly with the students, that how to keep themselves safe in an online setup or a virtual setup. And we should not restrict them. I feel that you should not do this. You should tell them how to be, rather than not to do that or not to do this, because we can't stop them from certain things. So yes, mapping
We
skills
have
there
here
are.
from Miss Raman.
we uh, we have something called as Cetera, which has many good games. Cetera. And one resource which we really love, it's called Virtual Vacation. In virtual vacation, they take you around a place, a virtual tour of a place, and then you have to put it on the map. Where is it located in the world? And then the students, they compete with each other, that how far away was I with from the correct location. So that I feel develops mapping skills like nothing else does. So yeah, challenges, they keep them stimulated.
This is huge one.
ICT strands, see, the ones which I shared in my presentation, those are the ones which we have devised from whatever we have learned about the ICT, learning ICT or learning technology from the IB documents. So those were the four strands that we use, and we feel that covers everything that can be covered in technology learning. They were basic tech skills, um, using technology to create research and digital citizenship, and digital design. So these are the four strands that we use, but of course there is no right or wrong here. You are free to create your own based on whatever knowledge, because there are no ICT strands as such anywhere in the IB documents. But to keep things sorted at our end, we felt that it's important to have some structure so that we know what all are we covering. A few resource links, as in what context, Miss Lakshmi, if you could elaborate that a bit. Some tools that we are using uh, are the commonly used tools, like the Office 365 tools, and Apple tools like Mac, from Mac, like Keynote, Clips, iMovie, Green Screen. Then tools like Canva, Book Creator, and Adobe Creative Cloud. These are the, and for 3D modeling, we use Tinkercad, which I feel it's great for use in primary school. It's very, very student friendly, and the students can create amazing models using Tinkercad. So I think I answered to Ms. Diksha's question also when I shared a few resources. And of course, there are many, many resources out there. These are just a few which we use or I have used. But you can use, like I said, the tool is not important. What what is the student learning, and how are you going to make the child learn a particular concept or a skill, that is important. Tools are, there are millions of tools out there. we are free to choose whatever tools are available for us, or they are free, because we are always looking for free tools. So I don't think we should be restricted with the tools. The task and the learning objective is what should be the core.
I hope all the participants here, it was useful. I personally learned a lot. And here's a certificate of participation, Miss Sana. It was really helpful. And I can still see some questions coming in that share your resources. And I think the participant resonate with me that it was indeed useful. Sorry, I think I'm showing the wrong slide. Is it visible? Yes.
Yes, yes, it is visible. Thank you, Anila.
Thank you. And participants, I request you to please like, share, and subscribe our channel. Also, in the chat, you will see a link in which you can, if you want to participate, you can provide a request there. Or if you have any question, Miss Sana will be available to answer all the questions if you have any. If you couldn't post it here, you're most welcome to post questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I